Hi, hello. Welcome back or welcome in if you're new around here. I made this channel in order to share my writing journey with you and whoever might be interested in it. Today, I'd like to talk about a topic that's uh, it's um it's simple really, but it's complicated. It, mm, yeah. What the hell is writer's block? I've watched many videos from different writers on the matter. They say similar things about it in some parts, but completely different things in others. Some say that writer's block is very much a problem, while others swear that writer's block isn't even real. Now, I'm not going to lie, I don't give a rat's whiskers about this debate. I like to say I agree and disagree with both sides, but we can have this conversation at the end of the video, perhaps. For the time being, all I know is that sometimes, when I sit down to write, I can't. I call it the drought. So, I've tried some of the methods and solutions given by these other talented writers, and I realized something odd. It's the fact that the same solution works sometimes and then some other times it doesn't. And then a solution that absolutely did not work for me before, I try it again and it works like a charm. And then the next day, it doesn't work again. Then I understood that the reason people can't seem to settle for or agree on what writer's block is or even feels like is because knowing that you are experiencing writer's block is not really the only thing that matters. Writers experience a block, yes, but what really matters is what causes it. If you don't tend to the cause, you won't really be able to move past it, in most cases. The solution is based on the cause. Writer's block is not a diagnosable illness, not that I know, but the same terms apply. If you don't find the cause of an ailment, you can't really treat it. I mean, you can't just medicate if you don't know what it even is. You'll just be flinging crap at the wall, hoping for something to stick, and sometimes it can cause more damage. So, let's talk about these causes. Starting with the most common and obvious one, physical condition. Yes, writing is art. It's about creativity. But your brain does not float above your head. It's very much part of your body. You don't take care of your body, guess what? Undesirable things start to happen. I hear a lot about the struggling writer that survives on caffeine and barely 2 hours of sleep per 24 hours. I don't know for you, but I think the reason they struggle with their writing in this case is due to their physical condition. Bear in mind, I am not talking about other external issues that might cause someone to struggle, like their financial situation, or if one has, let's say, insomnia. That's something else, but it still needs to be tended to accordingly, not by causing the body more harm. If you don't rest well, you don't eat well, you get tired, weak, sloppy, irritated, anxious, the list goes on. You might notice that my tone here is a bit intense at this point. It's because I learned my lesson. I took poor care of my body, my diet and sleeping schedule for years and was wondering what was wrong. And then as soon as I changed my eating habits and sleep pattern, good things started to happen. Needless to say, I don't play around anymore when it comes to my health. So, number one cause of writer's block? Maybe you're just tired. Your brain needs rest and nutrients just as much as the rest of your body does. Sitting in front of your notebook or computer and trying to push through it simply won't do. Moving on to the next potential cause. Perfectionism. Now, this is the cause that will require you to sit in front of your computer and bulldoze through it. Let me explain with an example. I outline my chapters before writing them, for reasons I've already explained in a video dedicated to that topic. Point is, when I sit down to write, the majority of the time I know what I want to put on the page. I know where the story goes. However, I can't find the right words to express those ideas, and anything I write feels less than satisfying. The quality isn't there. It feels like absolute garbage. So, I go back to the previous chapters and read them, and I really like them. I feel like they were written by someone else, someone much better than me. I become upset that I can't live up to that same quality anymore. But then I stop.
Wait a minute!
I realize that I've thought and felt the same way about those previous chapters I grew to love eventually. So, what did I do to get it done the previous time? Oh, right, I plowed through it. I wrote it however way I could without erasing it or constantly trying to rewrite it. I hated the result then, but after a few days, I loved it. Turns out it wasn't garbage after all. Sure, I made some edits here and there, but I still liked how it turned out. That's why I said this is the cause that requires you to blast through the block. You want perfection. You want to achieve a certain quality. You have this super high expectation of yourself that you don't realize that what you're writing is actually of that quality. The solution here is to allow yourself to write garbage. It won't actually turn out garbage, but your brain will trick you to believe that as you're writing it. Next cause is going to be somewhat the opposite of this one. Yes, let's talk now about lack of inspiration. I haven't experienced this kind of block as of late, mainly since I started planning and plotting, outlining, organizing my ideas. So, usually when I sit down to write, I already have an idea of what I want. But you have no idea where to even begin or how to continue. I personally believe that inspiration is not something you wait for to come to you, it's something you go out of your way to seek. When I want to find new ideas or think about new stories I want to write, I don't sit in front of a blank page or think about how I can't find it. At least I don't do that anymore. I do my best to switch focus. I try reading books or manga in the same genre I want to writing. I try watching movies, anime, listening to music while trying to rest. I take a walk when I can. I switch tasks, change environment. I try talking to people, friends, family, it doesn't matter. Sometimes I go on stock image websites or even social media and just browse. You'd be surprised by the kind of inspiration that might give you. And when all of this fails, I look for prompts online. I found that at best, it sparks completely new ideas in me. And at worst, it's a good writing exercise and practice. Perhaps something will pique your interest, and you can tweak a prompt to fit whatever style you prefer to write in. Collaborative writing is also something to try. Pick someone else's brain and let them pick yours. Have an exchange with other writers, and there's no shame in asking for help when needed. Number 4. Fear of failure. This one is self-explanatory. It resembles the perfectionism one to an extent. You might like what you're writing, but a thought might zoom across your mind, an image of people hating and tearing your work apart, or even ignoring it altogether. This can hold you back a lot. The solution, again, is to bulldoze through it. Write what you want to write. And yes, do your best working on it and editing it and all. But it's good to remember that your first books are probably going to suck, and that's normal. That's perfectly fine. You'll learn a lot along the way. That's how it's done. My first romance web novel isn't doing all that great. Yeah, it has some readers, but I realized I didn't do enough research about the platform I published it on. And as a result, readers there aren't really interested in it. It could be that it doesn't fit the tropes or the style that readers prefer on that platform. Either that, or the book is flat out garbage, which is okay, I guess. This really hurt me in the beginning, but I learned to keep going and move on. I'm very much enjoying writing it, and I want to finish it. I am excited about it. Moving on to the next cause, external stress. Writers don't live in a vacuum. We have lives that come with the good and the bad. Sometimes you can't write because you can't stop thinking about an issue or multiple issues you have. I can't tell you how to solve your issues, but if it is a problem that can be solved, perhaps try to get it out of the way first. If it is an issue that can't or that takes longer to be solved, then again, try taking a break from writing. Sitting in front of a blank page might just exacerbate your anxiety. Number 6, getting overwhelmed. This is the bane of my existence. I suffer so much from this. I get easily overwhelmed and quickly distracted. Sometimes, most of the time, there's just so much going on in my head that I don't know where to start or where to go from a certain point or how to develop an idea. The inspiration is there, but it's just too loud up there for me to focus on what I need to focus on. So I started using a few methods to remedy that. At the beginning, when I only have an idea, I tried mind mapping. Basically putting everything I have in mind about it and just laying it on a page or on screen, and then I start making connections between the dots in a manner that would allow me to see clearer and create an outline. From that point, I try to actually outline and document every piece of idea I have about the story I mapped. It's crucial for me to do this as it's the only way I can find my way along the process. I made a video on how I planned my romance novel and a video on how I outlined my chapters. Note that I don't always follow the same plan for different stories. Sometimes I need to plan and outline everything before writing. Other times I need to take notes and outline as I go. And some other times I just catalog the informations I already wrote in order to not get lost. Another way I get overwhelmed is if I feel like my word count goal is too big for the day. I usually write at least 1,000 words per day, but I don't always write the whole 1,000 in one go. I break it down into smaller word count goals. I sit down, tell myself I only have to write 100 words. 100, and I do that. The majority of the time, I end up writing a lot more than 100 because once I get started, I'm already over the block. And finally, number 7. One other cause that can create a block for writers is simply burnout. Perhaps you've pushed yourself too much. Yes, I'm all for writing every day, but I still get burned out sometimes, at which point I stop. I realize I need a break, and I take that break. Maybe writing every day doesn't work for you. Maybe you're someone that can only write 2 days a week and still get shit done. Comparing your writing routine to other authors' routines can put you down even more. Maybe you're sick of working on the same story for so long. Maybe you're sick of writing in the same genre all the time. Maybe you're sick of following the same routine for so long. Try to switch it up. More importantly, allow yourself to celebrate milestones, as small as you might think they are. Taking the time to do that might heal you from the burnout and reignite your passion for writing again. Even if you have a deadline you need to meet, if you identify the cause of your block ahead of time, I think you should be able to work through it. In the end, and going back to what I said before about writer's block, I agree with both sides. The one that says that writer's block is real, and the one that says it isn't. First, because I very much experience a block sometimes, rough patches of time where writing isn't as easy or fun as it usually is for me. But also, I believe that it isn't real because believing in the word block itself gives it that much power over me. And when I find the cause of it, I realize that it's not actually a barrier that takes away my ability to write. It's a bump on the road more than anything else. Anyways, I think I'm going to end this video here. I do hope I've been able to help anyone. If you enjoyed this video or find it helpful, then please do leave a like or a comment if you have something to say. Subscribe if you want to see more of my content. I hope to see you again in another video, but until then, please take care of yourselves and bye bye.